We are the Guinea Pig Collective. All will be assimilated. Resistance is futile.
Hey everybody, what's going on, and welcome back to another Lightsaber Theory. So on today's Lightsaber Theory, we will be discussing a double-bladed saber with only one blade being ignited. How easy is it to use in a combat situation? Now, obviously with only a single blade being ignited and you have this extended hilt, the way that you are going to use it is going to be slightly different than a standard hilt on any kind of regular lightsaber, because a regular lightsaber hilt is only usually about maybe 14 inches to 15 inches long at maximum. Most are actually 12 inches or under. So with the extended hilt of a double-bladed lightsaber, you're talking over 20 some odd inches, maybe even up to 30 some odd inches or longer, that you're going to have to contend with when you're trying to swing this thing around and move it. This presents a very big problem in a close combat situation, because if somebody gets in close enough to you and you have that big blade, trying to swing that blade around with that extended hilt in different positions will become troublesome. You're going to need to back up and extend your arms out and move it, because when you try to use that big long hilt and move it around, it's constantly getting in the way. It's going to bump into your hip or something else if you're not extending your arms out further. If you are not constantly aware and paying attention to where the other end of that handle is, it's going to cause problems. So you get caught up, you know what, you're already out of position, instant kill. So you have to really think a lot further ahead with every single move that you're doing, so as not to leave yourself open in a combat situation. So as always, we will be showing footage of what it looks like. And in some of these, you could see that, you know, initially trying to use this as a single saber, it is not really all that easy to use it. You can do it, but you have to work and practice at it, and you got to get used to that extended hilt, because usually when you're working with a saber, you don't have that thing on there. So it's a lot easier to use with a standard hilt. But after a while, we got working with it, and as you could see, wound up getting my buddy Jacob involved in it, and like, hey man, use this thing as if it was a staff. And once you use it as if it's a staff, it is 10 times easier to use. But then again, once again, here you are, you're running into that situation where you're using big sweeping strikes and a lot of body movement to move this thing around, just like you would if you were using a traditional double-bladed with both sabers extended. Now, obviously, I used my boss saber for this, and the boss saber blade is actually not supposed to be able to come out because, as I discussed in a previous video about it, it is actually LED stripping running up the entire blade is why it gets the ascending and descending on and off to it. And they're not really supposed to come apart, but I found out that there is an actual pin that you could pull out of the socket just like you would have on any other electronic device, where it's got a little plug with the pins that push in and pull out of another socket end. And I found that I could get this one out once I detached what would be the emitter section at the top that has the claw ends on it, or forked end as it was listed on the boss saber. So once I got that claw end off, or the fork end off, it was a lot easier to get to the plug to detach it from the inside of the saber blade. And once I had figured out how to do that, I knew that I was definitely going to go forward with this video. Now, I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to safely remove that plug without damaging anything inside the blade, so it was a bit of a gamble on my part, but you know, it's one of those things that I just really felt like I had to try, and I was successful, luckily. I didn't damage anything, and it went right back together as it should, and everything is fine, which is a good thing, because I have upcoming fan fiction that I want to work on where I'm going to utilize that double-bladed saber in a single saber setting. So this was actually a double win for me, if you will. I was able to do this video, plus I was able to understand how it would come apart safely without destroying anything, so I will be able to do my fan fiction video. Now, using a double-bladed saber with a single blade extended, you can use it. There is no problem with being able to use it, but once again, you are using it like you would be using a staff or anything else. So really, in the end, it's not quite as practical as it would be if you had both blades extended on this thing, because you get a lot more out of having that second blade available at all times, because now you have not only another blade for attack, but also another blade for defense. And especially as long as that hilt is, and since you can't really bring it in quite as close as you would with a traditional saber with all the movement that's available, having that second blade is a lot more effective. And even if you go back to watching episode 1, the way Darth Maul handles his double-bladed saber with only a single blade engaged with Qui-Gon Jinn is much different than when he wound up fighting Obi-Wan with the single blade, because when he was fighting Obi-Wan with the single blade, one half of his double-bladed saber had already been obliterated. It was cut in half. So he was basically working with a standard hilt size, and the movements that he was using with that destroyed double-bladed saber that was now a single-bladed saber was much different than how he was fighting Qui-Gon. Anyway, guys, that's all I have on this one. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Of course, if you enjoyed what you've heard and seen, go ahead and destroy that like button for me. And if you are new to the channel and you like what you've heard, go ahead, subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. And I will catch you all next time. Later, y'all.